I had a bunch of fun with a ploy I tried in my last game with the Parasite of Mortrex. It made us both laugh while also grossing us out just a little. This isn't competitive, it's just for the lulz, and I'm no pro, just having a chuckle exploring the game. First up, there's been a rules tweak that might come into play here. Being a bigger base kind of army, my Tyranids can be stalled when an opponent stations their fellows just a whisker over an inch from the inside face of the ruin in which they are lurking. This means, even though it's breachable, there's physically not enough room for me to place my bugs in the gap, so they have to remain pressed up against the wall, and this keeps them out of engagement range. Cue sad bonesword face. So apparently, this dubious but legal tactic was so prolific it needed dealing with. Now, if I am reading this right, the tweak means engagement is now 2 inches in this specific situation, meaning my bugs can engage and not be left standing in a withering hailstorm of bolter fire while they stroll around the building looking to get in from the back. However, a side effect is that it also makes charging a little easier. Reinforcements drop, or things fly or burrow in, and they have to be 9 inches or more from the enemy, so a roll of 8 or less is needed to get into engagement for a successful charge, right? But this 2-inch change means drop that another inch, so all I need is a 7. With Shard Lure, that's 3 dice and choose the best. Plus, I'm playing Kraken this game, and there's options to get re-rolls with the Synaptic Lure Psychic Power, and I'm ditching the adaptive D3+3 Advance for the Hunt Biomorphology of Augmented Ferocity for +1 on the charge. Basically, I really want to be able to charge successfully in this game, and Kraken and this new rules tweak make this goal a lot more likely. Anywho, we are playing a mission from Nachmund and its desperate raid, which means holding objectives in your enemy's deployment zone is way more valuable, and more importantly, once you take an objective, it remains under your control until the foe take it back. You don't have to remain on it, you call dibs and move on. I will twirl an imaginary skinny villainous moustache at this point. Now, I'm playing Hive Fleet Kraken with a Tyranid Prime with a Venom Cannon, 4 warriors with Bone Swords and Death Spitters, and 2 more with Venom Cannon. There's the Parasite of Mortrex, and some Rippers, and a few more just in case, and a few more in case this goes really well. Plus, the ever-reliable Neurothrope, 2 Screamer Killers that will be my spear tip, and just for fun, a big old barbed hydrogel laying down some heavy fire. We join the action in turn 2. The Space Marines continue the advance, and so there's now room in the back for me to squeeze in. During the reinforcements phase, in comes my Parasite of Mortrex, lands on an objective, and immediately begins brewing up its Gestation Sac relic that I bought for a command point pre-game with the stratagem rarefied enhancements. At the end of the shooting phase, I roll for my D3+1 Rippers and get a 5. So, 4 swarms burst forth, plop onto the ground, are roused by the presence of the Synaptic Link, and wriggle forth to take their positions. I station them as a defensive barrier, about an inch apart and an inch from my Parasite, in case there's any high-speed movement shenanigans from the Ultramarines. This way, the Astartes can't easily engage my Parasite. Rippers will snag them and stall them, stopping them getting into engagement range. Turn 3. The Kraken strat of Opportunistic Advance adds a flat 8 inches to your advance, giving the Parasite a rather impressive 24 inches of movement. Now, there was something I had been hoping to do, but I couldn't, so maybe next time. So the plot was to fly out 12 inches, use Enfolding Strike to infect, and then fly back 12 inches into the safety of the Ripper barricade, and then let infection do its work. I could then do this each turn to infect multiple units, stripping them of obsec, stalling them by having to engage rippers that emerge in their midst, as the warriors and hierarchial pound them with fire, and the screamer killers run around causing havoc, and then the parasite can charge in and wipe out the dregs with some melee. Now, this necessitated the Marines staying put and opening fire, trying to kill the parasite. And first, because of look out sir, they'd have to eat through 16 wounds of rippers that are in cover. And with their ability of burrow and squirm, there would be a +1 armor save on top of the +1 against ranged because of the containers they are behind. Not much, but every little bit will help keep them alive and acting as chitinous Kevlar vests for my parasite. But the boys in blue had their eye on extending the Emperor's love to the barbed hierarchal that had been pummeling them with biocannon fire, and off they moved out of the 12-inch hit and run distance I needed. So, just swooping over the Marine unit and into obscuring 1 CP for enfolding strike, and I get to do some mortal wounds and also infect them with parasites. The wonderfully named ability of It Itches turns off their objective secure, and this would have been important had the Screamer Killer I recently had on the objective not been cut down by the 80, yes 80, chainsawed hits. But it did keep the Astartes delayed long enough for me to engage my parasite swoop and infect ploy. Okay, 2 mortal wounds, so a Ripper Swarm erupts from the pulsating infected flesh of an Astartes, and I can place it either to tar pit their advance towards the hierarchial, or stall any move on the parasite, which can then fly away and grab more objectives, or just get stuck in. Damn, you could really bog down some units like this. Flying over to infect, lurking, hiding, breeding rippers in the enemy, and then flying off leaving the little bastards to cause mischief and shut down movement. It's a shame enfolding strike can only afflict 1 unit because, well, actually no, it's not. That would be appalling. With 24 inches of move, you could strafe an entire army and have all of them lose obsec and become stranded as rippers burst forth and engage. It'd be a bio-apocalypse napalm strike of chitin and internal rupturing.
We're gonna die! Don't you understand? We're all gonna die!
Now, I opted for the sack because I needed the points for my Tyrannid warriors, and well, because I just wanted to play with a new toy. Whether it was worth a command point, probably not, but I might give this tactic another go and just buy 3 Ripper Swarms and have them run their death from below ability to pop up when I deploy the parasite. I mean, actually I guess that's the advantage of the sack. Death from below has to be over 9 inches away from the enemy, which means I'd have to station the parasite behind this barricade, and so it'd be even further from the units I want to hit. The sack puts them 3 inches from the parasite, so I can drop in Mr. Mortrex at the 9-inch limit and spew out some defences closer to the enemy. And this would save me having to spend CP on opportunistic advance, because with the base 16-inch move of the parasite, 8 inches in, 8 infect, 8 inches out. So I guess it all balances out. Oh, so in the end, how did the Space Marines fare against Hive Fleet Kraken?
Dead to the last man.
Anyways, it cost a few command points, but it was very, very fun. Probably not the most game-changing tactic, but it's just so nasty and grisly and annoying that I love it. And that's the Parasite of Mortrex Infestation Strafing Blitzing Hit and Run.